Welcome to our monthly Adobe Users Group meeting. We meet the second Thursday of every month. I always have to think about that because I have other meetings as well. But we meet the second Thursday of every month and we talk everything Adobe. I am a Adobe certified, I guess, person that I've been doing this for about 20 years, 20 plus years. So, but I love learning new technology and sharing it with other people. And tonight we're going to be talking about some new features in Adobe 2024, 2025. Some of it's still in beta, so if you want to practice these exercises, you may have to download the beta version to see some of these items, new features that we're going to be talking about tonight. And so we're going to go on and get started, but let me just show you what we're going to be covering, and then we'll talk about those as we go. So I'm going to move it over to the screen here. Can you guys see my notes?
Yep.
Okay, so let me just pull up a little table of content right here. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is we're going to talk about an object on a path. Okay, objects, plural, on a path. Text to vector graphics. We're going to talk about the new Live Star tool. And then the change in font characteristic, a little minor thing there. And then another AI tool called the new mockup tool. So this is AI, this text to vectors AI, and object path is AI. So we're going to be talking at least 3 AI tools tonight and 2 minor things. And then the next time we meet, we're going to be covering the smooth tool, the generative fill tool, shape fill, that's an AI feature, enhanced image trace. They've had that, they just enhanced it. So we'll be talking about that. Create a pattern with a prompt, that's AI. And this is actually version 2023, something new, but I thought it was cool that I included it. And then a new retype tool, which is kind of somewhat AI as well, I believe. So we're going to be covering at least half of these tonight. So I'm going to just put this because I'm reading my notes over on the other screen. So if I'm looking in the other direction, that's because I'm reading my notes on another big monitor. So with that in mind, let's talk about the first new feature, which I love, and is the objects, plural, on a path. Okay, in the past, 5 years ago, I always like to do that, right? It was hard to add multiple objects onto a single path, right? Now, and, we could put a text on a path. That's fairly easy. Let me show you how to do that, in fact. Now you can add multiple objects onto a single path, okay? Not only that, and that's the fun part, but you can also do a few steps that allows you to manipulate, either move or distribute those objects all at the same time on the path easily. Okay, so that's the premise of what we're going to be doing with this objects, plural, on a path tool. So first of all, let's look at the old school way of doing it. Remember back in the old days, 3 years ago, you could take the pen tool. So if you take the pen tool and then let me make sure the fill is off, the stroke is on. I thought I clicked on the pen tool. And let's just draw a path, if you will. And I'm going to curve it like that. And then control click to commit, right? That's a path, right? And if you wanted to put text on a path, that's a fairly easy process to do. You select the text tool, that is. And when you hover over it, notice it. I don't know if you guys see that the icon change. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can literally, once you get on that, hover over that path and click on it, it adds the text to the path. Okay, and then you can use the selection tool to move that text along. And this could be a circle, or half a circle, a semicircle, whatever the path is, you can literally attach text to it readily, and then you can manipulate that path as well afterwards. But if you get to near the edge, and I was clicking on this thing right here, that doesn't work. You want to make sure you click on this line right here, and you can move the text along the path. I always like to have fun with this. I always think of this as a roller coaster of
Oh,
sort,
wait.
right? And so
So
you
you
can
said,
manipulate that. And again, you can always click on this text at any time and bump up the font size, let's say, or reduce it or whatever you need to do, as well as change the font or whatever you need to do. Let me bump this up to, let's make it really big. Let's do, I don't know, let's go way big, 200.
hey, I
Okay,
wanted to ask
really
something real
big.
quick.
Yeah, I have a question too. Go on.
Okay.
So yeah, I would have done the same thing. Like if I'm gonna grab it and move it, automatically I would go towards that little circle icon. And you're saying, yeah, that we can't do that. You need to grab the line.
Yeah, because you try to grab this is actually a box right here.
Yeah, and
It
I see
doesn't
that
work.
icon change.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
see, I get that little add. This is like add more text to
yeah,
icon. You don't want that. Uh, you want to make sure you grab this line right here. Oh, you can grab this now. You can grab this line right here too
right, okay.
on either side if it's small enough to move it. Um, so you have a path on both sides that you can select from. Um, Oh, there's a little line right here that you can select if you want to flip the text on the other side. So a lot of people don't realize this, but if you can do this, you can flip it on so you get that little roller coaster, you know how that roller coaster
How
twist.
did you
Make
do
you
that?
wonder how you like
How
that.
did you flip it? Show us how
Huh?
you did the flip.
There's a little line right here. Can you see when I hover over it,
Yes,
changes to
yes.
that little, see that cursor? It's kind of
Are
small, but
those are those what they call guides?
yeah, those are smart cursors, I guess. Not cursing, but cursor. Okay. And so you can flip it up or down.
And
Ah,
are you just like dragging it?
Yeah, I'm just dragging it up or down
Okay,
the
okay,
line.
yeah.
Okay. So again, this work on any pad. You could do a circle. Typically, if you're doing like logos and stuff, you want to have text on a curve or semi-curve.
mhm.
And you want to flip stuff in and out of the curve. That's what that little line right there is for. So that's been
Excellent.
around for a decade. Okay, probably longer, right? You can always do that. But you never did have the opportunity to add multiple, besides text. I don't think you could ever add an object onto the path, right? You can always add text to a path. Now you have the option of adding multiple objects along a path, and emphasis on the word easily. I love that word. Okay, easily. Okay, so let's show you how to do that. This is cool. So I'm gonna delete this. And we need to bring in some objects that we want to add to a path, right? So we're going to use, just for the sake of time, we're going to go to the window. And I don't know if I'm sure you guys probably have used the symbols, right? Have you all used symbols before?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure, Carol, you've used symbols before. And so you have a library of symbols, a boatload, and that's a technical term, right? Of symbols that you can select from. In this case, I am going to do nature because I want some insects to put along a path, as it were. So I'm going to drag your favorite insect, ant. Y'all like ants? Yeah, y'all don't like ants, do y'all?
Sure, love them.
Which is uncles.
And I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, right? Uh, and then what is this? Oh, look like a bee. Okay, so let's do a bee. What is this?
I have a question. When you resize it there like that, do you have to hold down shift to
Yep.
constrain the X and Y
Yeah,
or
I guess if you hold down shift, you can constrain. I'm just dragging the corner to make it
yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
that's
but
okay.
yeah, I think if you hold down the shift key there, we'll constrain it proportionally, like
Yeah,
like you do in every in most Adobe application, right?
well, they
Now,
changed Photoshop though, right? So
say that again.
they changed Photoshop though
Yeah, they did. They
years
did. And I was
ago.
about to say they did change it.
Hi.
I prefer the shift key because when you got that muscle
Yeah.
memory,
Yeah,
right?
no, I
Yeah.
do the same thing like in After Effects. I got to hold the shift.
Right. I like to use the shift key because for me, when I think shift, I'm thinking constraining, right?
Yeah.
Angle, a curve,
Yeah.
a
Dragging a
box
straight
or
line or
whatever.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
you're right. You hold on the shift key if you want to constrain it.
I'm not
Uh,
sure the
and,
Adobe teams talk to one another, you know.
but I think you could turn that option off in a preference because if
Oh,
you used
right.
to, yeah, you could turn that
Okay.
option because most people are used, when you've been at this in this business for as long as we've been, you're
Right.
just used to the shift key.
Yeah. Why are they changing that? Yeah, or whatever.
Because now everything is made easy, you know? I mean, you get these folks that AI, I think may take away some entry-level position, and you'll see some examples of that because, I got literally dozens of CDs of what we call, y'all probably don't know what these things are. They call clip arts, right? Uh, and
Yeah.
the problem with those CDs is that when you want to look for an image, you might spend a half a day looking for that one image you have, but you don't know what CD is on, right? Now you could just type a prompt and get whatever you want. I love that. I love that fact of AI. I could literally type a prompt, and it's not perfect, let me say that, but it's getting better. Okay, so you need to embrace the technology. My Chopinism on that is technology is good when it's used. I love technology when it's good, when it's used for good, that is, and when it works. So that's my little Chopinism for the night. Okay, and that's the
Gonna
truth.
have to make that rhyme if you expect us to remember it.
Only what accepted, only what only what selected gets affected, right?
Technology is good when it works like it should.
There you go.
Mhm.
You're catching on, Carol.
I've been hanging around you a long time.
I
Woohoo!
know
Yeah,
it.
I think we've all
It's
picked up
catching.
when you
I had
say,
one lady that told me, I asked her, she said, I know you, I know you. Uh, you said Dust is one of my chauvinism, right? I said, how long ago that been? 10 years. So she has a world record of one of the longest chauvinism being remembered. So I thought that was too funny. Okay, so let's try some more these. Well, I don't know. What is that? A roach?
Looks like
Cockroach?
it. Silver bug or
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
what that is. And then we got to have a butterfly, right? I mean, for crying out loud,
It's
we
a
gotta have
beetle. It's
something
a
nice.
beetle.
Okay, so we got to do a butterfly. Okay,
Yes.
we got to do a butterfly. Okay, so again, you can have these wherever you want on the stage. It doesn't really matter, right? And you can select whatever you want. You can do even you might say a beetle. Let's throw a beetle in there just for
That's a
good measure.
ladybug. That's a
Ladybug.
ladybug.
Okay, there you go. And then we don't want no spiders. Okay, scorpions. We're not going to do them. Okay, you could if you wanted to. Okay, so once you have that, then you can use your left tool to draw a circle. Now here you go. You hold on the shift key to constrain it to a circle, right? So you see if you draw it like, oh, let me do Control Z because what I want to do is make the stroke black and the fill transparent. So if I don't hold on the shift key, then I can create an oval ellipse, right? But I hold on the shift key, notice pop to a circle, right? So again, in this case, you would want to hold on the shift key to constrain it to a circle, like so. Okay, you guys tracking so far? So this is, I'm spending more time talking than it actually takes to do this. But you're gonna see how fun this is. So let's get this out of the way so we can see this better. So you whatever objects, these could be images, icons, whatever, vector, doesn't matter. They objects, right? And then you create a path. Again, it could be you use a pen tool to create your path, a circle, a box, whatever you want to be. In this case, I want to put these on the circle without much fuss. Okay, so the way you do that is only what's selected
Gets affected.
affected. Okay, so we got to select what we want to affect. So I got to select everything, right? All of the objects and the path. You guys tracking?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little effort, and then it's a little chauvinism, right? With a little effort, you think you can do that?
Well, as soon as you did it, I thought that makes no sense. Don't you want to just select all of the insects and then put them on the circle?
Well, that's what the tool's going to do for you. Okay.
Okay.
So you got to select everything, including all of the symbol objects, and then the path, and then let the magic begin. Now there's a new tool right here where I'm hovering. You can see a preview of the objects on a path. See it's being animated right there. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what we're going to do.
No, before you put them all on the circle, I didn't understand what you were doing. Could you undo and redo?
I was showing you that I was hovering over this little tool, right? This new
And
object.
what are those things on the sides?
Oh, that's just in that's just a little small preview of what's going to happen.
Right, but what's confusing me is I see 4 icons in circles.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
that's just a
and
little
I see
preview
six
of
insects.
how this tool works.
Really know what they are. They're just things, objects.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's just a little preview,
Uh,
for beginners. You could turn that thing off.
I didn't know those
Uh,
things did that. That's cool.
yeah, but that's for folks that, they're new to Adobe Illustrator. And it just shows them what this tool is going to do. And we're going to see what it's doing right now.
So it's
Uh,
kind of symbolic of what it's going to do on
Right.
the,
Yes.
got
Yeah.
it. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
So let's click on this. And then when I hover over here, you guys can see that big uh
Cursor.
cursor with the
Yeah.
2 boxes. You guys see
Yeah.
that? Let the magic begin. Watch, I'm gonna click on that, click on target, wait for it. Bam!
Boom.
Woo!
Is that slicker than slime?
That is sly.
Okay, now move them around and stuff.
Huh?
Move them around.
Okay, let's move them around. So first of all, let's start from the top. And first of all, I'm gonna move the whole thing around. So what did I do? So I want to center it a little bit first. Then if you grab this handle, you can make it smaller, you can make it larger, or you can hold the shift key to constrain it, right? So you can do that. So you can make it larger, smaller. Now you got this little handle right here, space. Watch this. This is cool. Click on this. And look, you can
Whee!
Okay, I'm having too much fun. Okay, and you can see you can space them out accordingly. Is that cool?
That is cool.
Okay, so you could do that with that tool, with that spacer right there. And then you see this little thing right here, move all? You click on that. Whee!
Woo!
I'm just having too much fun now. You guys see that? Then you
Yes.
click, and then you click here, and you can rotate them, each one of them on that path and line them up with the path. What we call
Oh.
orientate on path in Flash. Remember that? Remember Flash? Some of y'all may not remember
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Orient.
So you could orientate that object. Notice that they following the path now.
Yeah.
That's
How cool is that?
That's still an After Effects orient along path.
Right. So
It's
you can do
kind of
that.
like a solar system.
Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to do like planets around, you could do that. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, because you got this, if you wanted to remove the path itself, there's a couple ways you could do it. One way I thought of doing it was just turn the
visual off,
um
the color off.
Stroke
turn the color
none.
off, but you got to select what you want to affect first, and that's not working for me. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I just turned the stroke off, right? See, it's no stroke and no fill, right? That's one way of doing it. Let me do Control Z a couple times, at least if I can go back. Okay. Or what you could do, from what I saw in the video, that's easier to me. You could go to Objects on a Path, Expand. You could do that. And then select that. Use the direct select tool, I believe. And then hit delete. That's too much effort for me because you got to do all of them, right? I mean, what I did, I think is easier.
Well, once you do that though, won't that prevent you from moving them in a circle? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing this until.
But if you do your first technique of just hiding the stroke, then you can continue
Right.
to
And that's the
manipulate.
technique I would recommend. I wouldn't do this. Because
Right.
once you release that path, then now you could reconnect
It's
it
like
back,
flattening a multi-layer
Right.
photo file.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could reconnect it back, right, doing the same thing again. But to me, I'd rather just turn the stroke off. It's easier. You got to go, you got to go down here, there, and then you got to select it. You got to go up here and select this, and you got to select and delete. That's 15 steps, for crying out loud. At least 10.
Well, in yours, your stroke is, your path is still there.
Right. And then you could always go back and edit it. So for me, just select that and just turn it off. You got to select what you want to affect first before you do that, and just turn it off. And to me, that's easier. And by the way, you could still affect it even though it's off, right? Because it's just invisible, right?
It's not
It's
off.
there. So I
Yeah.
can still, you know,
But you
do
have to
whatever I
make it
want.
visible if you want to know where to grab a guide or
Right.
Or you could go over and Command Y.
what's Command Y?
And that would give you the invert, right? Invert.
It's the not the preview mode. It's the, behind the scenes wireframe mode. What's the name
Right.
of it? I don't know. It's just Command Y.
Okay, well, let's do Command Y. Let's see what happens.
There you go.
So you could do that.
So you can see it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
If you want to affect it.
That's from Command Y?
Yeah, that's Command Y.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, what is that really called? It's a
That's the invert mode, I believe. That
no, look under view.
is that on view?
In the view menu.
Yeah, that's the outline view.
Outline
It's called
view. Yeah.
outline.
I
Okay.
just call it Command Y.
Yeah.
And when I do
And
that,
that's been around a long time.
Yeah.
That's been around. So so you could do a whole lot with this new tool. You know, you could change the size and all that fun stuff. Um so that's one. Again, that's not AI, okay? I said that was AI. I don't think that's AI because that's just attaching stuff to a screen to a path. But that's nice because there are times where you need to create like circular something in a circle, right? Easily without much fuss. If you had to do this yourself, that would be a nightmare to do.
What about attaching it to something that's not spherical, but like a letter, the letter M, or a whole bunch of letters, or other things like, a star or
Uh,
a triangle?
well, let me try it. Let's
A
just
different kind of shape is what I'm
okay.
saying.
Well, let's just try a shape. I'm gonna use my pen tool, and I'm gonna just go something real fancy, right? Control click. Okay, let's see
Right.
what it does. Okay, and then I'm gonna go up here, go window, symbols again. I'm gonna just grab me a couple symbols again.
Could you
One.
take the same symbols that you have on the circle
No,
and
because they're attached to it. Okay,
Mm.
they're attached now, unless I release it.
could you select them and then duplicate them and move them over so that you don't have to go through selecting another six things? Is there any way
No, not really.
you
Not that I
couldn't
know
shift?
of,
Probably
because
easier
once
just
you
to select
attach it,
6 things.
It
yeah,
looks
once
like
you
you have them
attach
all
it,
selected. Could you do an alt drag and
Yeah.
copy them off?
well, it's going to copy. It's going to
Oh,
copy the whole
I
thing,
see.
right?
It doesn't detach it from the
Right.
circle.
It's not going to detach it.
Okay.
Not until
thank
you
you.
expand it.
Yeah, not until you expand it. So you could probably do uh, object on a path, and well, it says attached, so I don't know why it doesn't do
There's
it.
got to be a way to detach. If you want to remove one, you just delete it.
Object on a path, and I don't know why they say attach because it's already attached.
You
But
could have
when you
just
expand
selected
it,
6 new ones by now.
huh?
I know, but I just wanted to know if in concept could image symbols that have been attached be duplicated and moved around.
It probably could. I hadn't gotten to that yet, but I'm sure you could
Okay.
probably ungroup this. Maybe the ungroup. I don't know if that
Yeah,
works.
that would probably do it.
Let's see.
No?
No.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Look at that.
So ungroup and it's not
Or
expand.
if you used option or alt as you were doing that, would you have kept it on the circle and gone?
Yeah, I would have kept it on a circle because you're
Copy.
duplicating the whole object, right?
Right.
But again, if I select these objects now, right, and then click on this icon and then hover over this path here, it's going to literally line it. Let me close this up and this up. So let me select all of this. Why is it not selecting? Hold on. Move this out my way. Okay, so let me select all of these. And this is in my way too. So I got all of that selected, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm gonna do the object on a path, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna hover over it. See that? When I click on
Mhm.
it, bam.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
And then again, you can space them out, right?
That's amazing.
You can space them out. Again, you can click on this. Oh, by the way, I forgot to do one thing too. I forgot to mention, this is cool. I'm glad I thought about it. You can swap them out. This is slicker than slime. Okay. Let's say I want to swap this fly with this butterfly. Okay. So all you got to do is drag this over here and boom. Is that not cool?
Would
Or
you
if I
do
want to
that
swap
again?
this with this,
Uh-huh.
boom.
Oh, it just like bumps it
Mhm.
out of the way.
Yeah. Take this right here and go over here. Voila. I forgot to mention that. I'm glad I thought about that.
Very cool.
And then you can, after the fact, you can still always manipulate the your vector. I mean your path.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So that we.
If you wanted at this point, could you turn that vector with the sharp angles into a smooth curve?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you use your convert the vector tool, right, and convert that to whatever you want, right?
How do you do that?
Um, so if I grab this,
That anchor point?
yeah, and just do that.
Ooh,
Okay. So again, well, however you draw a path, using the pen tool, and however you manipulate it is the way you're going to be able to, and then you still have that control, right? Because again, you click on this, um,
wow.
and now you still have control even after you manipulate it.
Hmm.
Is that cool or not?
Just looks like so much fun.
It is. So that's object on a path. Probably spent a little bit more time on that than I thought. But it was all good.
Oh yeah.
All
Well,
right.
you can turn it into a 3-part series.
Okay, that might have to, because we spent quite more time on that than I thought, but that was all good. So let me delete all of this, and then we're going to do another thing. This other one is AI, by the way. So y'all like AI, everybody into AI now, right? 'Cause y'all love that AI stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do an AI example. And this one is called text to vector. Okay, this is akin to what we did in Photoshop. Remember,
Photoshop.
Photoshop is bitmap. You know what difference between bitmap and vector, right? Bitmap is a set of pixels that's used to define an image, right? Whereas vector is a formula, right? That's used to define an image. If you want to put it in layman terms, if you will. One is pixels, one is a formula and that's why vectors are smaller. The resolution, and you want to impress somebody, always says resolution independent. Okay, I always say that, right? Whereas a bitmap is resolution dependent. It depends because if you scale it, it starts to pixelate, right? Because you're trying to add pixels where there weren't any, right? So keep those two terms in mind: pixels versus vector, bitmap versus vector, right? And so this is the counterpart to Photoshop, where you give it a prompt and it creates an image. Here you're doing a text or prompt to an image. Okay, so let's do that. Let's see, right here, let's see. Let me see. Okay, generate vector. Let's see if that's it. Okay, I got a cat playing a guitar. Again, now you can get more creative than that, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna keep it simple, right? And so if I click generate, and we'll play with some of these other options. But you click generate, wait for it, and notice right here, it's creating 3 variations of a cat playing a guitar. And this is really good, I think, too, because how many times have you wanted an image and then you wanted something else in that image, and then you had to kind of bring something in and composite it and make it look right and all that kind of craziness, right? Now you could just say, you can create an image of whatever you want. Now, there you got 3 variations there. Let me move this thing out of my way. You got that one, you got that one, and you got that one. Okay. Now, those are simplistic because when I was playing with this, I told it remembers your previous selections, right, of what you wanted. And this is the scene version. Let me show you what you can do. Now, because this is selected, it's going to create a another image over this one. Okay, so watch what happens. So I'm gonna click on this little icon right here. And see, you got three things. You got scene, subject, and icon, right? So I'm gonna just click. I just want not. I don't want a scene. Scene meaning an object and then some kind of background, right? I want just a subject of a cat playing a guitar. Now again, you could get a little bit more creative than that for crying out loud. You have to become what they call a prompt engineer, not a electrical engineer or mechanical engineer, but a prompt engineer. Okay, so I'm gonna click. I'm gonna select subject, but this time it's going to create just a subject and not a background. And that's because that's what that was scene. So I'm going to select subject, but notice it's kind of midway. And that's why it's kind of the less details you have, the less vectors you're going to have. Okay. So I'm going to bump this thing up to, and I hope my computer don't choke on me, to maximum. Okay. See right there? So it's going to give me a lot of vector information. All right. And I want to make a subject. Now you can do an icon. If you want to create a little icon for something, you can do that, but that's easy. That's just a smaller picture of a subject, right? But let's do maximum. And then we're going to do, yeah, that's all we want to do. And let's do done. Well, did I do that right? Let me do that again. Subject, maximum. I want to click on create rather, generate rather. So let's click on that again. It's going to replace this one here. And notice it's creating three more iterations. You still have these, but you're going to create three more. And you can keep on doing this until you get what you like.
May I ask if you had created a larger rectangle, would it just
Okay,
take a lot more time?
I'll tell you about that in a minute. Good thought.
Okay.
And there go, isn't he's so cute. So look, you got that cat. Let me just click away so you can see better. Isn't that pretty or not? Okay. Now when you click on it again, it goes back to you kind of see it after you deselect it because you have all of vector being highlighted when you have on it, when you click on it, right? But you can see this one has a lot of detail compared to these, right? And these are vectors, by the way. So you could click on something, use the direct select tool, and maybe I just want to lasso something, lasso that. I'm hit the delete key. Then I could just delete whatever I want. This is all vector stuff,
You
right?
just remove the sun.
Yeah, and
Yes,
some
the
cloud.
power.
Because it's getting night, it's getting dark, okay?
Can you make it
And then
get dark now?
and because this is vector and is resolution independent, you can use my magnifying tool and you can get really big on this, right? And it doesn't lose any resolution.
Can you make it get
Now
dark?
again,
Can
it's
you
not
shift the
perfect
whole
because you can
color
see,
scheme?
say that again?
Can you make it get dark? Can you shift the color scheme?
Yeah, you can. You can. There's a lot of things you can do that, you
Almost
just have,
anything you could do in
yeah.
Photoshop that way you could do here.
Yeah, you can select these and change the color, but you can also do it from when you create this selection. Let me. I like that one. Okay. So you have control over the scene, the subject, and the icon, whichever one you want, and how much detail you want. Now, the more detail, the bigger the file, because vector files can get big too if there's a lot of vectors. So you want to balance your vectors versus the quality. Now you can click right here, and you can reference another style, and you can click here uh, and you could set the tone and the colors. That's so again, I hadn't played with this, right? But you could say you want black and white, muted, warm, whatever. You can select the number of colors, or you can tell it auto. You can specify the color. So you only limit it by your imagination. Okay, and so but you want to do that before you hit the generate button, right? So if you want black and white, in fact, let's just do that just to show you that black and white is always right. And if I hit generate, let's see, it's going to create three.
There's no preview.
Well, the preview, yeah, there's no, besides the little preview that you get over here, I guess, because it has to generate them. And so now we have some black and white. Let me click away so you can see better.
Mm.
That's not bad. I kind of like that. Like,
It's kind of amazing to me. And it's all vector, you know. Awesome.
but the idea that I could just, because a lot of times there's been, I don't know if this never happened to you guys, but there's been times where I wanted something, an image, and I want an image with this, a cat playing the guitar. Well, guess what? That would be hard to find. Right.
It's gonna put stock photo and libraries out of business.
You know, and far as I know, there's no copyright issues where you can't you got to pay for the rights and all that stuff like you do with raw where you got to
Like
pay for an
iStock
image.
photo.
Yeah, so
I have a
whatever you
question for
create,
you.
you use.
Did I see you rotate this cap? Is it three-dimensional?
Where is that at? You say you saw that?
I thought you just moved the cat or showed a few different positions and it made the cat look like it was like you could rotate it three-dimensionally.
Oh
No.
no, it was 3 different previews.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Ah,
Maybe. Yeah. I can kind of put that in Photoshop and make it look like he's dancing or something,
He's
yeah.
jamming.
But
And
there are three different positions.
yeah. And again, you could hit variations again and create three
Huh.
more. You create as many number of objects as you want. Uh, Now let me go back to what you were saying, Karen, and that is you can control the size of the object by creating a box first. Okay. So for example, if I do this rectangle and I'm gonna just make it smaller, just to illustrate the fact that whatever I do is gonna fit within the box, thinking inside of the box there. So again, this could be bigger, right? But I'm just saying it's small just to show you that. Uh, and again, I'm gonna do the same thing, hit generate. Now that image, and because it's a separate box, is going to create it over here and not replace the previous ones that's on screen. So this one's going to stay on screen and create some iterations over here. But it's going to be the size of that box. So if you want to constrain it to the size of something, you just draw a box. How easy is that? And you got your little, oops, cancel that. So you got that one. Let me click on it. You got that one. You little cat. For you, how many cat lovers do we have? We have cat lovers in the house?
I'm
Because
a
Oh,
when
yes.
dog.
Oh, yes.
I talk to cat lovers, dog lovers, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Cats rule, dogs rule.
Cats rule, dogs rule. Is that
No, cats drool.
Oh,
Dogs rule.
yeah.
I never heard that.
Oh, it's from some cartoon, some
That's
children's
funny.
animated thing.
I was
That
just
is
thinking
too funny.
earlier today, why does my cat have to watch me go to the bathroom all the time?
Because you let it.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, you can adjust a lot of different properties when you're generating this. Using this generate vector, again, you can control the scene, meaning if you want to put a scene behind it, the subject or icon, the details, how detailed you want that image, the vectors information on that image to be. You can control, you can reference another image and it'll make an image. So if you got an image of, let's say, your company brand or whatever, with the colors and whatever,
That's cool.
you can reference that image and it's going to create an image or three images, I should say, based upon that image. You can do that in Photoshop, remember, right? So that's cool. And then you can also adjust the color. And by the way, you can also do effect. So you could say, I want a flat design, or I want 3D. In fact, let's just do one. Let's do this 3D. And that'll be interesting. Let's do 3D, and we got a subject. I'm gonna clear the style because I think this did we select style reference? No, we didn't do style. Effects. So let's do 3D, and let's do generate. And again, because that's selected, that's going to be affected. It's going to change to 3 other versions of this cat playing the guitar. Now these are supposed to be more like 3D looking. And I think the black and white was still selected. So these probably still come in as black and white, maybe not. Okay. Oh, well, that's cool. So there you have it. So now you got, and let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so now you got some like somewhat 3D looking, right? Rendering of that object. I guess this is somewhat 3D too. So again, just you got to play around with it, you know. Now, Photoshop, I don't know, I think you're limited in the amount of stuff you can create, and then you got to start paying for it afterwards, I believe. Because I have a program that you have to buy credits for the number of AI instances that you create. So I think there's a limit to the number of objects or pictures that you can create. And then when you exceed that limit, then you got to pay for it, you know. But again, that's, you know, you have to do some research on that to find out. I don't do enough of this to go over the limit, believe me. Probably, if anything, I'm going over the limit tonight because this is probably the most I ever do. Because I don't use Illustrator that often, but if I ever had to do something, now I know I got this as another tool in my toolbox, if you will. I want to create a cat playing the guitar for whatever, bam, I could do that without much fuss.
Did you have a dream last night or something of cats playing guitars?
No, I just, you know, I tell people I'm not bright like most of you guys. So I'm a simple-minded person. So I was talking about somebody the day where they get all, because you got to be a prop engineer, right? And they use terms like where the cat playing the piano against the sunset in the
Oh.
forest with birds flying over, tweaking and whatever. You know, I'm not doing all that.
Working.
You know, I'm just a cat with a guitar, you know, that's life is easy. It's funny, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. How many did we cover? We just did 2 things. Okay. All right.
The
Let's
3D
do,
cat, the 3D cat's not really like you, it's not really in 3D space. You can't.
no, you can't rotate it. Yeah. Yeah, you won't be able to rotate it. It's just somewhat, you know, you can kind of see the side of him, right? You can see the side of his face, so you know that's kind of like 3D somewhat.
You can
Yeah.
rotate him, but you can't flip him.
I mean, I can rotate him like
Yeah,
that.
right. But you can't flip him.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, you can't.
And now if I did this and
Well,
flipped him
maybe,
to the
yeah,
other
then
side,
he'd be
you know, I
playing, he'd
could
become
kind of make a mirror
left-handed.
image
Right,
of him, right? And
right.
okay.
But you
can't
can't
see his
see, you
back.
can't see his back.
Right, yeah, yeah.
No.
No, you can't do that. Now, I did see a video on YouTube where they took an image like this and made a made a 3D object out of it, but I could not find how to do that. And it was at a Max conference, looked like, where
Ooh,
it took an
fancy.
image and made a 3D object out of it. And I'm thinking, man,
All in Illustrator.
that was an Illustrator.
Yeah, because Illustrator has 3D like
Oh
abilities.
yeah, I could do 3D. Yeah, you could do 3D in Illustrator. Yeah, I do that all the time, but not with AI.
Right.
Now there's a new project called Neo, Adobe Neo, that allows you to take 2D objects and make 3D objects out of them. So Project Neo, if you Google it, let's see if I can do that. Love my friend Google. Adobe, what I said, project, I think it's called
Neo.
Neo. Okay, let's see if we can find that. So I guess that's an example right there. See that? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
What?
Take, slice, and
I
move.
might be able to include that in the next
Wow.
month presentation. But if I know we're kind of going off course, but this is all good. If you go to YouTube, and man, I probably won't be able to find it.
Then we'll be here all night.
No, I want to find something real quick. 2D to 3D in Adobe
Wait,
Illustrator. Let me see if I can find the video right here. Now watch this. This is, you ain't gonna believe this.
Warrior. Now I want a warrior to fight a dragon.
Can you all hear that?
But I suddenly
Yeah.
realized
Yes.
the warrior is looking at the wrong direction. The warrior should be looking at the dragon, right? So I have to turn the warrior around to face the dragon. But you see, it's a 2D vector shape. And I cannot just turn it around. Now, normally, I have to redraw the entire shape, which is going to take a lot of time. But here, let me show you our new tool. I'll just need to select the shape and click this Generative Views button. And then I can just rotate the shape by simply dragging the slider.
Wow.
Is that slicker than slime?
Slick.
Now, I would love to be able to do that.
Thank you, thank you. I love
what,
this
what tool is this if we just saw a
That's just
demonstration?
an Illustrator.
That
uh,
sounds, wow.
Now I want a warrior to fight the dragon.
And it looked like it's at a Max conference, but I went to go to see how to do that. Maybe it's in some other beta. But this was at a Max conference, it looks like anyway. I
Woohoo.
just made that up. But when I saw that, man, I said, man, this kind of prompted me to actually want to do the class on Illustrator because I'm thinking, man, that is cool. So
Boy,
maybe
I
it's still
actually
in
expect the
development.
warrior to jump off the screen and go into the audience.
And I now saw another one where they made this drag in 3D and you can literally rotate it in 3D space. So you go from
Wow.
2D to 3D. Now you can do that in Illustrator, somewhat, right? Because I used to do 3D all the time in Illustrator. But being able to take a whole character like that and rotate it, you can't do that. You couldn't do that. I mean, you can take a simple shape and rotate it in Adobe Illustrator, but not a complex shape.
Hmm.
So
I
anyway,
can see how AI would do that, though. It would take the colors and the shape and the size and imagine what the other side of a dragon would look like.
yeah. So anyway, I only got 2 out of 5 things I want to cover. So this might be a part 3 because you guys asking a lot of questions. Okay, and that's all good.
That's fine.
So let's call it a
I'll
night.
just adjust the announcement.
Yeah. And we'll pick up the ball on this next month.
This
Part
was a
2.
really good program. Thank you.
Yeah, see,
Okay, this is
you got us
and just say part 2 of a multi-part series. That's what I usually do when I have a multi-part series, because sometimes I know it'll always be more than I think,
Yep.
so I said part 2 of a multi-part. Instead of saying
Yep.
part 2 of 3, I just say part 2 of a multi-part series. Because
That's
this
fine.
is definitely expanding.
That sounds good. And if John or somebody else like Carol or anybody else would like to make a different presentation, we could take a break in this series.
Exactly. I have no problem with that.
Well, thank you so much, Cornelius. I'm going to stop the recording now and just remind everybody that they can get more information about our group at the AustinAdobeUserGroup.com.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next
you.
month.
Bye.
Thank you.
Adios.